Why are so many men sick of, frustrated, and hateful towards women? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always been men hating women. I mean, just look at any incel form on the internet. But now it's like every man in the red pill, right-leaning, manosphere, whatever you want to call it, straight up resents women by default. We're seeing the movement MGTOW, which is men going their own way, away from women, growing in popularity. We're seeing men reject the tradition of marriage, and many saying they will never actually get married because for their perspective, it's a trap. And there's this weird paradox that women are getting more and more sexually open, and yet the average man is getting less and less women. It's like, yes, they're open, it's just not for you. But is this shift in culture valid, or is there a lot of underlying issues that if they don't get solved could cause this epidemic to mean so much worse for men in general? I see it in my own comments, this regurgitation of the notion that the modern woman isn't worth it. You should reject all women. Porn will never let me down. But me personally, I did it before I was cool. Back in junior high, back in high school, I hated women as well. I was a skinny gamer, I was a nerd, and in a school that glorified football, I knew a little too much about computers. And I'm noticing that my female classmates tend to gravitate more towards the popular football players, basketball players, the confident guys, the guys who they hit puberty a little better than me, so they got a little more muscle going on, and the malice grew. Because surely it's not something wrong with me, it's something wrong with that entire gender. They are just shallow. They are hoes. But my perspective began to shift once I got into the gym and got this new surface level confidence because I was finally working on myself, and it was the first masculine act I've ever done in my life, really. But even then, I had my qualms. You see, I was always good at pattern recognition with people. And I think this is the entry level to hating women. You just start to notice all the double standards in the world. Why do they seemingly get all this special treatment by default, whereas I feel like I have to earn every crumb of it? And you just start to notice the differences, and instead of understanding that's just inherently how the world works and embracing the differences and seeing the beauty in both sides, we resent it. It's not fair, I got a penis. And then you pair this with the lack of attention and sexual validation from the girls, and it just makes it way worse. I think this is kind of the entry level to a lot of these surface level red pill takes. I did all the right things, and they don't fuck me. But if you spend enough time in the real world, these illusions kind of dispel themselves, especially when you meet a lot of good girls and realize, oh, there's a lot of nice ladies out there. At least that was the case before the internet. It's kind of like if you were to go on Twitter a few years ago, you would think, everyone's a far left extremist. Yet if you were to go onto Twitter now, you would think everyone's a far right extremist. You know, guys will watch Fresh and Fit, and instead of seeing it as entertainment and understand the certain demographics of women they bring on, they think, all women are like these Miami bitches? They don't need no man because they make $100K on OnlyFans? We have this endless flow of videos like the street interviews where they interview women and they just say the most degenerate, low intellect things, or maybe they find this couple they've been together 10 years and like swap phones, and the guy's like, oh, why are you texting Antonio from work? And then you have all these TikToks and shorts of women being like, all men are trash, we don't need men. I mean, even The View had a segment about how they hate men, but granted, those bitches are retarded. So it makes perfect sense for a man whose perspective has been built by this content to think, well, they hate me, then I hate them. But we can't forget about the most glaring issue that drastically warped my perspective and is warping the perspective of the majority of men on the planet: pornography, where you're literally programming your brain with endless hours of women degrading themselves, being overly promiscuous, having multiple partners. And nowadays it's like every female Twitch streamer or e-girl also happens to sell their body. It's just funny, the men who can't get girls are literally addicted to girls. They're just pixelated and on a screen. And there are valid reasons for men to be a little upset, you know? You turn on the radio and it's a female rapper being like,
my coochie pink, he f***ed me on the couch, he f***ed me on the floor, he f***ed me in the house, he f***ed me outside, he f***ed me in the garage, I put it in my butt, I'm Nicki Minaj.
That was off the top, dude. I'm in the wrong industry. Around 60% of young men are single compared to only 34% of the women, so the guys are just watching these older, more successful guys literally take the girls out of their dating pool. And overall hypergamy and short-term relationships has become rampant due to social media, as well as cheating due to social media. A couple decades ago, your wife couldn't check her phone and be like, oh wow, this guy's DMing me, this guy's DMing me, this guy wants to send me to Bali, oh look at all these girls that just got sent to Dubai. Plus nowadays, if you're married in the West, they're literally financially incentivized to leave you. Imagine if the roles were reversed and you knew as a man that you could just go and post a couple gym selfies on the Instagram and super rich, beautiful, successful women would be DMing you trying to fly you to exotic places. And is that the case for many average women? No, but that doesn't mean that they don't think that that's the case. But to turn around and challenge the guys, the average man is getting it more and more mediocre. Testosterone levels are falling, fertility rates are plummeting. The average man is addicted to pornography, might be addicted to video games, might behave much more emotional than they should be. And I already know I'm gonna get some comments because I've gotten them in the past of guys that are like, well, women should love me for me and not for my money or my muscles or my confidence or my intelligence or my discipline or my emotional control.
Bro, you are a fucking loser.
But firstly, one thing I want you to understand is that great girls do exist. Do not listen to the internet, the manosphere, the red pill. There are plenty of good women who want one man and would be perfectly happy filling the feminine role in that man's life. And you want to know something even better? You don't have to fly to the other side of the world to get them. I see so much of that in the passport bro world where it's like they think they have to fly across the world to get a decent partner. But to be fair, a lot of the guys you see do that. They might go and get this beautiful Asian wife, but they're overweight, their hairline sucks, they're not very well built, they're not very masculine. It's like, dude, you try just not being fat? So yes, there is a lot of validity in the gender wars, and there is a lot of delusion, but how does that help you? What do you do? Step one is you need to completely dispel the belief that all women are evil and out to get you. Because if you operate your day-to-day life with that belief, how our minds work and our subconscious works is you are going to seek out experiences that will justify that belief, even if the belief is harmful. Whereas if you navigate life with a sense of abundance, you believe that women are beautiful creatures and you're like, oh yeah, maybe there's some bad eggs, but that's not a big deal. Step two is whether you like it or not, you have to work towards becoming above average. You cannot be an average man and complain about the average woman. You have no right to. For my subscribers, I don't feel like I have to riff on this. You're following a self-improvement channel. You want to be better than average. But for those of you who are not, dude, if you do not change, if you do not improve, you will always be a victim to the world and to life. And step three is to actually go out and interact with women. You will be shocked how sweet, how nice they can be, how they're just human, just like you, whether they're gorgeous or average looking. They're just another person that poops in a toilet. But that is easier said than done. It takes a certain amount of knowledge to be able to navigate social interactions well, and if you really want to date someone, to navigate interacting with women like that. So I have 2 videos on the screen that will help you master your social ability and your dating ability to not only talk to women and attract them, but to keep them addicted to you long term. So click the videos on the screen right now. Thank you. Bye-bye.